The Exminster or Matford lime kilns, as is known. Lime is a calcium containing inorganic mineral in which oxides and hydroxides predominate. In the strict sense of the term, lime is calcium oxide or calcium hydroxide. The word lime originates with its earliest use as building mortar and has a sense of sticking or adhering. It is the Romans that were credited with the invention of concrete by mixing lime and volcanic rock. For underwater structures, lime and volcanic ash were mixed to form mortar, and this mortar and volcanic tuff were packed into wooden forms. The sea water instantly triggered an exothermic chemical reaction. The lime was hydrated, incorporating water molecules into its structure, and reacted with the ash to cement the whole mixture together. After the Roman occupation of AD 43, it is no wonder that Exeter became a popular place to have lime kilns. There were several advantages, not least of all the trade of tin and copper that was being mined on Dartmoor nearby. But it was on the coast, which made movement of goods possible internationally and around the Isle of Britain. And there is an abundance of carboniferous limestones available nearby. One of these places, just down the coast in Lime Bay at Beer, where limestone had been quarried way back to the time of the Roman occupation of Britain. Lime has many uses. When it is burned, a process called calcination, it's converted into the highly caustic substance known as quicklime. Then, by the addition of water, it changes its properties to less caustic substance of slaked lime or hydrated lime, as is also known. Among the many uses it is put to is as an additive on the land to change the pH values of the soil. So for building and agriculture, the canal was an ideal place to carry out the burning of lime, carrying on the practice that had been going on for many centuries. In the records available, it can be seen that the Polk family, owners of the Matford House and surrounding lands, were the ones that first built these kilns at around 1682, just after the extension of the canal had taken place. They were later leased to Thomas Trude, who lived at Trude House, which, by the way, was a former hotel and now the headquarters of Evertree Brewery. And in 1808, Sir Lawrence Polk of Matford House agreed to improve the kilns that he was leasing to Trude. He not only leased the lime kilns, but a large acreage of Exminster and Alphington. It's interesting to note that in a newspaper advert in 1819, an advert listed the lime kilns as comprising 4 kilns, sheds, stables and a cottage. The Trude family later became the owners of this estate. It was sold again in 1897, bought by a Mr. Sampson for £1,200. Here we can see the area of the canal where a stone jetty has been constructed. It is quite long and would have been able to allow several barges to dock alongside. Now, however, there is very little evidence of the kilns and cottage that once stood here, and apart from these few old photographs, only imagination can be of use today. Whilst there are no records to tell us when lime burning actually ceased at these lime kilns. Following the sale of the kilns in 1897, later records do show, however, that a party of soldiers wounded in the Great War of 1914-18 were taken in 1918 by boat to the lime kilns, where they played games and recuperated. And it is said in a newspaper article at this time that the kilns were no longer burning lime, and the canal banks at this point had plenty of space for egg and spoon races and other activities. The lane that went from Matford Roundabout to the kilns is still in use. It is unusually quiet today when you travel along it, and such a pleasure to travel along. Back in the day when the kilns were productive, it would have been very busy. Today, where the end of the lane meets the canal, there is a car park. This is where the cottage would have stood, with the kilns running adjacent to the canal. Now, today, you can see the area is overgrown, but no doubt the footings of the building and the kiln are still there waiting for someone to excavate them in the future.